So this is a meet and greet, and welcome to each of you. And we're so happy to have you as guests. It is making a difference to people. Everybody, I don't know about you, but I know how stressed I can be during now and what's going on. It's so busy for us. And I'm going to try to, hold on, let me take rid of that. We need to laugh. We need to, so was looking up some laughter things, and this is the kids say the darndest things. So this is a little girl that she says, I sat down with my 3-year-old daughter who was playing at her dollhouse. I asked her which doll I could be, and she replied, the one that does the dishes. Okay, sound familiar? We're all doing dishes, making sure we watch everything. This is Pam's son, not Pam's grandson, and her granddaughter, Cole and Fair, and he is on a roll. So I won't play the whole thing. And Pam mentioned about your granddaughter Fair, because it's so cute, and it does I like her hat.
You like her hat. So she's totally dressed in her brother's hand-me-downs, and they are sequestered up in their Vermont house. They live in primary residences in Boston, but on March 11th, they got the word that it would be good to get out of Boston in their small apartment. So they went up to their cool farmhouse that they have up in Vermont, where they have been working from home, trying to work from home with a 5-year-old and an 18-month-old.
And share a little bit about what your daughter's doing right now, because when you told me that this morning, my eyelashes curled.
Yeah. So my daughter works in the financial services industry at a company called Fidelity, which some of you may have heard of. And right now, working from home, she is working 12-hour days because, what's happening with our economic situation right now, and the financial markets are going wild. So people are pulling millions and millions of dollars out of their 401ks, out of their retirement accounts. And she's not a trader, but she's working in marketing, the aspects of marketing and how Fidelity communicates to their customers and database. So there's a lot to say right now, and a lot to try and figure out. So her youngest there on the right, she posted this picture on Instagram and on our family stream, and she said, this is what springtime in Vermont looks like now. So Thayer loves the water, and she decided she was just going to go for a walk and sit down in the water. And there she is.
It looks good to me. Okay. What relaxes you? We want to always start our program with, we really need to relax. Like I had such a busy day yesterday because of the need for our product and what's happening. And I needed some relaxation. So even though I was really busy, I just put my winter coat on, I got the dog, and I went to the park, which I have a beautiful park near me, and just took a great walk. We all need to take that time. It wasn't necessarily that I thought I had the time, but I made the time. And it really helped give me fresh air, and it was so beautiful. And nature is so important to me. And so I connected with nature today, and that makes me happy. And what are we grateful for? We can all make a little list to make ourselves feel better, just by writing down all the things that we're grateful for, because that really makes a big difference in how we feel. And with that said, we're going to go into our program. I have some guest leaders that have some great information for you. So I'd like to introduce Maria to just begin our program. Maria?
Thank you, Joanne. This is a magnificent picture of nature, and I think I appreciate it now more than I ever have before. And just looking at it makes me want to take a deep breath. And we all love nature, and I think we all have plans to enjoy more of it in the future. But what this reminded me of is that we represent a company that has always respected and protected nature. And it's built into our company motto, but it's not just a motto, it's the hallmark of who we are, which is products in harmony with nature and perfected by science. And we believe that our home should be the safest place in the world on many levels, but especially at this time when we're all spending an awful lot of time at home. It used to be something we always ran to, at least I did, for nurturing and comfort, but now we're here all the time. And for me, cleaning this home now is not just about straightening out and mopping and things like that and dusting. It really is about killing those invaders that are not welcome guests in our home. And as we'll see in a little while, some of the things that typically are used as cleaning products are not very good. They're not very safe. And with Shackley, we don't have to have any of those unnecessary chemicals in order to achieve a truly clean and healthy home.
Thank you, Maria. I'm going to have Pam move on to the next slide for information. Pam?
Sure. So chemical pollutants have been found to be, and I can't see my screen there, I have to move my tile 2 to 5 times higher inside our homes versus outside. And we all know, I think, that long-term exposure to chemicals inside may be harmful to us and our families. And I think right now, especially, you know, we are all called to stay home right now. We're all called to do more cleaning and more disinfecting than ever before. I don't know about you, but disinfecting and cleaning have become daily tasks around here in our house, from the thresholds of our steps that go into the house to the mailbox to the kitchen counters, which mine looks so much more cluttered than this kitchen right here. I've got stuff all over, but I'm keeping it clean. And I think, you know, now because we're cleaning so much and cleaning deep, I think now is the time, especially where I'm thinking about as I share what we have in Shackley with our cleaners, which we're going to go through in great depth, is that we're really called to tell people about how they can clean safe and they can clean deep, they can save lots of money, and they can avoid going down that aisle in the grocery store. And that's what people want right now. They want to clean deep, clean safe, avoid going out to get their stuff, and save some money, because that's a big issue right now for a lot of people. So I just feel like this is a perfect opportunity for us to get really, really engaged with people and let them know that we can fulfill all these different criteria in one product line. So let's talk about more of this.
Pam, also, you know, when we, you know, some of us, you know, you have to go out to the grocery store, and it's not so much what we can possibly bring in when we're bringing in groceries or when we bring in the mail. So that's why we also have to clean more and spray down more, or leave things in the garage, etc., before we bring them in. So that's additionally why we're cleaning a lot. And I know you had an uncommon difficulty in March with your mother-in-law dying, you know, and your husband having to go out and see his mother and then coming back into the house. So all of those things can really compound why we have to be very careful with our cleaning. You want to take this slide, Pam?
Let's see, Sue Ann, are you here?
Oh, is it Sue Ann now here?
I think
Yep.
so, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pam and Joanne. Yes, as Pam said, we're all staying in our homes due to COVID-19. But think about, you know, yourself and possibly people you know that are currently using cleaning and laundry products that are actually putting you and your family at risk of suffering some of these ill effects of cleaners, in particular asthma, but also aren't even doing the job of taking care of COVID-19. Asthma is something I dealt with in my household when my son was 3 years old. It's how I got involved with Shackley. More on the nutritional end at first, but I quickly learned that the cleaners I was using were not helping his asthma. And so many people suffer asthma, not only children, but adults also. So this is a real concern. And when our son was exposed to a toxic chemical at 3 years old, he was healthy up till that point. And then there was ear infections and sore throats, ultimately being diagnosed with asthma. And those were actually fighting words for me because there was nobody in our family that ever had asthma. So this was kind of like a learning curve for me. And I was very thankful to have found Shackley through a friend in Donna Titus that helped educate me on better nutritional and better cleaning products.
Yeah, and the fumes and things that come out of our cleaners, certainly that can irritate it. I know Roger Barnett, who's the owner of Shackley Corporation, also found that his son had asthma, and that was one of the precipitations of why he bought the company, was because of the fact that our cleaners can really alleviate any symptoms people might suffer from because of the caustic chemicals in our homes. Okay, now I believe I turn it back over to Pam. Or is this still, Sue Ann, is this your?
Yeah, it's still me.
All right.
So having dealt with some of these health effects with my son, the respiratory, my husband dealt with bronchitis, all these things that, I wasn't really aware of, that my cleaning products were doing that. But bleach, ammonia, formaldehyde, which actually can be found in your laundry detergents, which was a surprise to me. Room deodorizers. There's a famous one that starts with an F that's very well advertised, which will really cause even people without asthma to have wheezing, headaches, nausea, all these ill effects that, we don't really think of these products because they're so well advertised to us that it's going to help keep our homes clean and smelling good, when actually they're not cleaning them well, and they're masking any kind of bacteria or virus or fungicide that we really need to get rid of so that our bodies don't have to deal with the toxicity of other kinds of cleaners. Laundry products, I'm just going to also mention, this was a big one that I dealt with Billy. Your pillowcase, people that have any kind of respiratory issue, which especially with COVID-19, anything that's really toxic and they're breathing on their pillow, that's going directly into their lungs. So as you're going to learn, Shackley has a solution of how you can help not get these symptoms.
Yeah, and I don't like going down the cleaner aisle. I mean, you really can feel it if you're in the grocery store and go down the aisle. So let's go on to the next slide here. Pam, would you share some information here? I believe, yeah, that's it. Pamela? These are some
There
of
you
the.
go. Thank
Okay.
you.
Uh-huh.
So this is, this I believe comes from Dr. Doris Rapp's book called Is This Your Child's World? And she was a doctor who did extensive research and published it in a couple of different volumes about the role of toxins as our children are affected by them. And so she did this, she's done many, many studies, but this one just shows you what happened to Ryan before disinfectant exposure, when he had to write his name, during the exposure to the disinfectant, at the peak of the disinfectant reaction, where he refuses to write, and then he gets some oxygen and he's been able to write his name again. So, we often don't having grandchildren too has made me really realize how much more, their systems are small, they're little, and they get overwhelmed so much more quickly than we do. It's very, very critical that we pay attention to it, not only for our children, but for ourselves. Let's look at the next slide. There's another example, I think, Joanne.
Right. Okay, let me just get there. There we go.
Okay, here's an example of a child exposed to Pine Sol on the floor and Lysol disinfectant. And then the handwriting after these chemicals were stopped being forced into his environment. And then you can see what happens after the chemicals are reintroduced to the environment. It's really just such a blatant illustration of how the toxins can affect our neuro systems, all our systems.
Well, what's also interesting for children, young children, little children, that are crawling around on the floor. They're not even walking yet. This is a child that's playing soccer and standing up. But think about the babies that are crawling around the floor and whatever you've washed your floor with. That was a big issue for me with my young children. Fortunately, I was introduced to Shaklee way ahead of time. So before I even had children. Pam,
I have a great, I have a friend whose 2.5-year-old every couple of days would throw a tantrum on the kitchen floor. And she did not know what was going on. I'm like, what the heck? This is out of nowhere. There's nothing wrong. And all of a sudden she put it together. It was every time she mopped with Mr. Clean, he freaked out. And that's what it was. It so affects him, like you were saying, with the kids.
Yeah, I'm sure I was affected being an ADD child, and you never know where the ADD comes from. Okay, let's take action.
Is that me or Maria?
Let's, yes, that's you.
So let's take action. Use products safely. Restrict smoking. Hopefully you don't smoke anymore. You use appliances properly. Make sure there's great ventilation. And eliminate the use of toxic chemicals. These are things that we can all control. And when you go into a hotel room that hasn't been cleaned properly with no toxins, that maybe there's been a smoker in there, maybe there's some off-gassing from materials or furniture, you know immediately when you walk in that room. But what we can control is our own homes. So all these things apply to things that we can control.
You know, this is interesting too, because I know that the glue that they put down, I don't know how many of you have gone into a home or into a place that has had a new carpet or glue put in, and my eyes and my nose just start running incredibly. So, you know, we can identify those kinds of things that are in fabrics. So natural fabrics are by far the best.
This next slide is showing some of the things that we have under our kitchen sink that we may not be aware of. I mean, prior to joining Shaklee, I really did not know that the cleaning products that I was using were dangerous. I mean, they were what I grew up with. The fact that I always had skin that was so dry, especially my hands, I realized that the cleaning product that I was mopping my floor with was eating away at my skin. But I didn't know. Ignorance is not bliss. So some of the toxins that are involved in cleaning products typically sold in a supermarket include these things like chlorine, bleach. I don't know how many of you remember years ago there was a Clorox commercial where a beautiful young woman was holding a gallon of bleach and introducing the new bleach that was spring scented. And she took a deep whiff of that. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Because that is just going to just destroy the inner lining of the mucous membranes of our nose and our lungs. And thank God the commercial is gone. But how many people are aware of that? Degreasers have tremendous amount of toxic toxic ingredients that also damage our lungs. And if we look at a lot of these cleaners and the ingredients in them and how they hurt us, a lot of them are coming in through our nasal passages and hurting our lungs. And what is being attacked in this coronavirus? It's our lungs. And so who are the people that are most at risk? It's the ones who have already issues. Many of them start in the lungs. So I have a story about the oven cleaner that I used to use. My daughter was 3 months old. I was living in New York City. It was January, and I had just finished cleaning my oven. A couple hours later, I turned it on to cook dinner. I left the room for a few minutes, and I came back. There was this white smoke in the entire kitchen, and my lungs, my throat, and my eyes started tearing. My throat was burning. I didn't have a car at my disposal, so I opened every window, left the house for over an hour to clear out my house. I had no idea that the residue, maybe I left some residue, had done that. Fast forward into Shaklee, and I found my 14-month-old eating the Shaklee Scarol, which is our oven cleaner. And you would think that, time for panic, but I didn't, because I knew it wasn't toxic. Now, not something that we snack on, but I cleaned his mouth as best I could, a 14-month-old, with a wet paper towel, and he was fine. So it's really wonderful to be able to share products that work beautifully and are non-toxic. They don't add chemicals into our air quality or on our surfaces that we touch our food with or our hands. So the products are safe, they're effective, and they're not harmful. These are just two of commonly used chemicals in our environment. Hydrochloric acid, I mean, just the idea of it sounds scary to me. We definitely don't want to come in contact with them. But they are, as you can see, in very common household cleaning products that we use every single day. So butyl is that, something that, like, what is that? Where is that used? Well, it's used in many common cleaning products. And by the way, don't be fooled by companies that have really popular names, because some of those have the like Simple Green have the butyl cellulose in them. So how can they call themselves Simple Green? It sounds so nice. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of marketing involved. With Shaklee, it's genuine integrity on the combination of ingredients that we use, that they will work and they will not harm a person. I like to say they don't harm people, they don't harm the planet, and they're respectful of the planet.
Thank you,
And that-
Maureen.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and
Maureen.
then here's the, next slide, Susie, that talks about what our products don't contain.
Exactly. And to go on with what Maria said, Dr. Shackley said, all I ever did was listen to nature and pass the word along. It was all, products in harmony with nature. So we are so blessed. I mean, look at all the harm that can be done. We are so blessed to be able to have the option to buy products from a company that does not have any of these harmful ingredients in them. And, I've had people say, oh, but, if I don't have my bleach, it won't work. And now I've noticed advertising with cleaning products saying, and no bleach in it. People are starting to catch on. Mm-hmm. And if you go to the next slide, they always work. They're always safe. They don't have any of those problems. And when you were talking about the scour off, Maria was talking about the scour off and her son eating it. Well, it's made from fats and oils, naturally occurring minerals, plant oils. So of course it's safe. And it's used, like I use it in the bathtub because I don't want to have any residue in there. When my kids were young, I didn't want them to have the residue from what I used to use, like Comet or Ajax, which have bleach powder in them. I just use the scour off and I don't have to worry if there's any residue left in there.
And Shaklee also has not been non-phosphate from the very beginning. It was one of the first products, and main reason Carolyn Whiteman got into the business was because of the non-phosphate cleaners, as well as Leo Gallerano, who introduced me to the products when they started. So Sue Ann, share one of the top products that first came out when Shaklee was actually probably the first Earth Day product that was available and the first organic product, natural product that was available.
Right, absolutely. Thanks, Joanne. And this was my first cleaner that I used with Shaklee, and it's still my favorite. What was great is, like I said, when my son Billy was diagnosed with asthma, I used to have to keep him outside to clean with a neighbor friend, because I couldn't subject him to the bleach and ammonia I was using. But when I switched to Basic H, it was so wonderful. I could give him a little spray bottle, and at 4 years old, he could spray down things and clean things, because this is it's non-toxic, it's non-polluting, it's phosphate and chlorine free. It's non-flammable, which is very important. You can, mix Basic H and know that, it's not going to be a flammable product.
And that's good to tell your children, if ever there's a fire, they can grab the bottle of Basic H to put out a fire.
Put it out. Yeah, and if you only use this 16-ounce bottle as a window cleaner, you can make 5,824 bottles of window cleaner. Now, the great thing is Shaklee ships you the concentrate. You add the water. So it becomes extremely economical. I mean, you can use this product for pennies. And if we go to the next slide, you can see the top 3 reasons you can use Basic H is: 1, you can use it as an all-purpose daily cleaner for wiping down countertops, floors, etc. A window cleaner, which 1 or 2 drops in that bottle, and I recommend the way the company tells you to use it, use it. The first time I did it, Donna Titus told me 1 or 2 drops. I put in 1/4 of a teaspoon and had to keep taking more water because my windows were getting streaky, because I thought, well, that can't possibly be true, 1 or 2 drops. But Donna was right. And when I mixed it properly, my windows were sparkly clean. A degreaser. Whenever I clean the top of my stove, I use the degreaser and it comes out shiny and clean. And the other important thing, you can use Basic H, and you can get the directions from the person that got you on the call, is a vegetable and fruit wash. You will also save a lot of money. I know a lot of people will use vinegar and water, but then it makes kind of like your things taste like vinegar. Where Basic H is totally non-toxic, you can be rest assured that your fruits and vegetables will be clean and they will still taste like a fruit and a vegetable.
Right, very important right now. Okay, we're going to switch into the bathroom now. Pam?
No, this is me.
Oh, sorry, Susie. I'll get it
Joanne,
right.
thank you. And you know, the Basic H, I love it because my grandkids, they love to clean. Toddlers love to clean. They can do that with the Basic H, and it's perfectly safe. You don't have to worry about that. We were talking about the bathroom before, and I mentioned the scour off. And one of the cool things is that there's no dust. I mean, I don't know if anybody here has used Comet like I used to, but when you would shake it, you would just get the residue, the particles. You'd be breathing them in. None of that from the scour off. So use it for that, copper grout. I mean, it is just, I love it. It's the coolest product. So it's nice to know you're getting in the tub and you know what you're getting in there with. That you're safe.
I love the fact there's no bathtub ring. That was a big thing that I adored when I had kids. You don't see the residue of all that soap and the dirt in your bathtub because for some reason it whisks it away. It's very wonderful aspect of our cleaners.
What's nice is because the soap-free cleansers we use as well don't leave a residue. They don't have the chemicals in them. The germ-off wipes are fantastic. You can see they work better than 7th generation Lysol disinfecting wipes. I've been really worried with hearing how people are just cleaning like crazy. You need to do that, but by using toxic chemicals, that's going to be harmful as well. And one of the things that I found, I used to work in a school, and one of the first grade teachers, the kids were constantly getting sick. And I asked her if she wanted to try the Basic G, the wipes, instead of the other things, the Clorox, Lysol, whatever, that she was using. We did our own study. Within a month, the kids were less sick. We brought the percentages way down. So it cleans really, really well and does not affect your hands. It doesn't make your hands all dry. So there's just story after story, and there's no smell. When I go to the gym, I was bringing these because the smell from the other wipes, I don't want to take in a big breath and breathe in those chemicals. So these are a great alternative.
Yeah, and you know, it's amazing how we're keeping them in our cars more now, and we're taking them with us everywhere. I have this good fortune of talking in the kitchen. We believe in cleaning out the oven without cleaning out your nasal passages. I remember my mother using a product called Easy Off. Now today, fortunately, we've got self-cleaning ovens, or many of us do, I hope, because it really makes a big difference. But I use the next product, which is called Scour Off, which is a natural abrasive that you can use on your pots and pans very effectively. This one container. The other good thing about our Shaklee cleaners, everyone, is that it does save you money. You know, initially you have the cost, but it also lasts longer. This Scour Off can last you a year. it even with good cleaning and making sure my daughter said, Mom, your pots and pans look so beautiful and you've had them for over 20 years. Well, the thing is though, they're quality pots and pans, but also it's because I've treated them well. And this product here is a paste. And if you open up the top, I was going to bring it here and show you, but I wasn't that together this afternoon. So you take the top off and you can actually smell it. As Maria was saying, it actually smells so good that the child wanted to eat it because it smells a little bit like bubble gum. And it doesn't harm them. You don't have to call poison control or anything like that. It doesn't really taste very good, so that they wouldn't really eat very much of it. But what you'll find is you use a lather with this. A lot of people think that they need to dig out the paste and use a lot of it, but the best way to use Scour Off is you wet your sponge and you tap the top of it and you get a lather going and you put it on the bottom of your pan or inside your pan. The other thing that we have to understand with our cleaners is because they're not chemical cleaners, what chemical cleaners do is they attack the fabric. Your clothes will last longer, but they also attack the fabric and they eat the dirt, but they eat the fabric as well. What our cleaners do is they work under a surfactant agent, which means that it takes a little bit of time. So for example, you would leave the Scour Off on your pot or your pan or whatever you're cleaning that you want to clean, your bathroom tiles, etc., and let it sit, leave it, walk away, and come back to it. Because what the surfactant does is it needs a little time to break down the molecules of the dirt. And it gets underneath the dirt, and then when you clean it, it lifts it off rather than eating it as a chemical would do. So I hope that makes sense to all of you. So our cleaners, you go around and spray everything, and then you come back and you wipe it down or you clean it off, which is fun. I enjoy that type of cleaning much more than having to really work at something for a period of time. It's amazing how effective and efficient this Scour Off is. One demonstration we used to use is put a little bit of Scour Off on our fingertips and take a penny that was very old and rub it around our fingers, and then we get a bright new shiny penny after that. So it's an outstanding product. It's one of my favorites, and a lot of other people apparently. Pam, why don't you share a little bit about what we do with our dishwashers?
Okay, so let's just talk about a few more products, and I get to talk about doing dishes. And Shaklee, products make doing dishes really easy. This is our pouch of dishwasher powder, and you see, if you haven't used this product before, it comes in a pouch. And the first time you use it, it's really convenient. If you buy this canister that goes along with the product, you can download it into the canister, which makes putting it into your machine really easy. And 48 dishwasher loads. And I don't know about you, I can even get more out of that, because I get really, if we heard before from, I forget who spoke about this, if little is good, less is better. And maybe you grew up in a household cleaning environment where your mom or your dad thought that if a little is good, more is better, but that's absolutely not the case with our products across the board. You heard Joanne talk about tapping the Scour Off and about using just a drop or two for your windows. Sue Ann mentioned with the Basic H. Well, this is I use less than a teaspoon when I fill my dishwasher dispenser with this. So again, it's economical, it's environmentally safe, it works. Same is true with the hand dishwasher. When Shaklee first came out with the Get Clean line many years ago now, what I did is I put a date on that bottle. Get a Sharpie pen if you're new to these products and date the bottle or date the jar or the bag. It really does bring it home to you how long these products will last. The hand dishwash is really, really concentrated, and I love it. It doesn't smell. You don't have these perfumes wafting at you while you're doing your dishes. You just need a few drops. It's a great thing to soak things into. Joanne mentioned that surfactant action, which runs through all our product line, which means it just suspends the dirt in the water. So soaking stuff works really, really well. And hand wash is backordered right now because we're all washing our hands so much, and everyone wants to use a product that moisturizes and soothes and energizes the hands. And I have to tell you, I am washing more. We've all seen the right way to wash. I think Dr. Fauci talked about it, doing this and doing your nails, doing it several times a day. This product works beautifully for that. You will not have dry, itchy skin and cracked skin from using this product. The other thing I really love about, let me just mention this, because there is a brand, and this, you know, I just have to say this, there's a brand, maybe I won't name it, but it's out there in Whole Foods and in a lot of the markets, and it comes in a lavender, and it comes in a grapefruit smell, and it comes in all these different fragrances. And when I have happened to have used the product in different home environments, not my own, what I find is that smell stays on my hands for the entire day, and it becomes very unappealing. And one of the things I love most about the hand wash is that it doesn't have an odor that lingers on your skin like a perfume. It's just a great product.
I think too, because we've used products that aren't overly heavily fragranced, I have a very aversion to a lot of scents that mix and match and everything. And that's really one thing that I enjoy too, because I've used other moisturizers and the scent just lingers on. So Pam, let's move along to laundry.
Okay, I get to talk a little bit about laundry. I love doing laundry. My daughter would like me to move in with her just so I could do her laundry and fold it.
You can move in with me too.
I guess I like doing laundry. I get satisfaction because I start a job and then I can complete it. And I got a new iron for my last birthday, so now I can iron. It's really exciting. I like to do laundry. Am I doing this slide? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so we have fresh laundry concentrate. Comes in no fragrance, and plus a very gentle, I can't even smell it, fragrance product. And I have to tell you, once you start using these products, you cannot go back. I have my daughter's good friend, my daughter's now 35 almost, and she has had a friend from childhood, from 5 years old, who has slept over at our house when she was a little girl so many times. And because of sleeping on sheets that had only been laundered with Shackley and soft fabric and Nature Bright and all of that, she now has a lifetime addiction to our laundry products, and she's living as a single woman in Brooklyn. And she just says, I cannot be without it, because I remember how great it was to sleep on your sheets as a little girl. So, you know, being able to sleep on sheets that are clean. Nature Bright is one of my favorite products. I use it on my laundry, but I also have a white sink in my kitchen, a white porcelain sink. It is now, we put it in 1994, so you guys do the math. How old is that sink? And it looks brand new, because what I do is I just sprinkle a little Nature Bright on it, maybe once a week before I go to bed. I sprinkle some Nature Bright, I put a little water on it, and I walk away from it. Remember Joanne talked about letting things soak? In the morning I come down and brush it off, and I have a white sink. And
Pam, wouldn't Basic D do the same thing?
Could.
Because I use Basic D on stuff like that, you know, certain glass baking dishes that are really baked into.
Yeah.
If I put Basic D in one of those and just with water and let it sit, I come back and I don't have to scrub anything. So it may function along the same line, and we do have Basic D in our kitchens, whereas Nature Bright could be in our laundry rooms, just as a thought anyway.
Yeah, no, I just like the Nature Bright.
And speaking of getting white.
Yeah, Sue-Ann, tell the story.
Sue-Ann, share the story about laundry.
I know. I love Nature Bright. I'm not quite as enthusiastic about ironing as Pam, but I can bring my ironing to you, Pam. I love baseball, and our son Billy was an awesome baseball catcher, but he also came home with awesome stains. And as Joanne had so eloquently, thank you, Joanne, explained how other cleaners attack the fabric. I like that. I used to soak things in bleach, and I found if I left things in bleach too long, they became disintegrated. Billy's baseball jerseys, I could not do that to. These were like special, you couldn't get them again, and so I had to treat these really well. So I was thankful when I found Nature Bright. This was like a game where he slid all over the place, and this was like heavy clay that was embedded into this shirt. And I thought, well, I'm going to take a before and after picture and see what happens. So I soaked it, and as Joanne said, you know, because it's not attacking the fabric, it needs to loosen. And I left it soaking overnight and actually put it out on the deck in the sun because the sun helped with the warmth and get the dirt out. Washed it, and that was after one washing, the before and after.
Wow.
I was like super impressed. Billy was happy because, you know, his coach was very particular and wanted their uniforms to be spick and span. And so
No pun intended there.
so we were just thrilled. And so also my daughter-in-law using cloth diapers with my almost 11-month-old grandson is now using Nature Bright. Had tried some other things and some other things that actually were quoted as being natural. But when she went out under my recommendation to, there's something called EWG, I think it stands for Environmental Working Group. Some of the natural things really aren't natural. So she's using Nature Bright to soak Camden's diapers, and it's working superbly. So it continues on my family.
Okay, Sue Ann, would you just share a little on this slide?
Okay, so all Shaklee products are 100% guaranteed, and we truly mean that in Shaklee. They're safe, they're proven, they're pure. Coming from a health professional background, I came in very skeptically because I explained to my upline, Donna Titus knows this, that I have a license that I had to protect. And so I had to, if I was going to align myself with a company and recommend, first of all, take their products and then recommend these products to other people, I had to be sure that this was really true because I was not going to lose my dental hygiene license. And this company is great. I mean, we have the scientific research and peer-reviewed literature to back our guarantee, and we don't ask any questions. You know, as Dr. Shaklee said, if somebody wants their money back, we wish them well on their health and move on. But I can say, speaking from my personal experience, I can probably count on 2 fingers people that have returned products. And
yeah, and as it basically says is we really sell results, for people who try it, and that's the most important thing. Thank you, Sue Ann. Maria, why don't you just take a minute on this just to share a little bit about this slide, please?
Sure. One of the wonderful things about all the things we've talked about today is that the products actually work. And that's why Shaklee can afford to give a money back guarantee. And we have a lot of scientific evidence, but the biggest evidence for me are pictures of people who are my age, but don't look my age. And we have lots and lots of those. Actually, people who use Shaklee products consistently are actually almost 10 years younger than their counterparts. And this is not an opinion. This is just, again, based on science. And I was part of that, one of those studies called the Landmark Study. I had the privilege last week of being on a call with Dr. Jamie McManus, who is the head of science and research at Shaklee and an MD. And she referred to the high-risk people over 60 that are being talked about today. And she said it's really less about being over 60 and more about being a product of the choices we've made or not made to protect our health. And she gave an example of her 93-year-old mother who has no existing conditions and is on 0 medications. And I think most of us who've been in Shaklee for a while can understand that and are probably like that as well. So for me, I've seen people in my life whom I love, and once they retire, they spend their weeks going from one doctor to another. I don't think that's quality of life. So by using Shaklee product, we truly age at a slower rate, and therefore we live younger for a longer period of time. And
I
then
love what you said though, Maria, too, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but we have to move on. It's really all about choices. The choices we make, and the choices we make right now are more important than ever before, which is the good news about today. It's making people more aware of taking care of their health. We're going to move along. We like to stop at 1:45. For those of you that feel you have to leave, we're going to just share a little bit about another important need that many people out there are having. And I'm going to invite Carolyn Whiteman to share this slide. Again, we do like to end on time. We're running just a little over today. But I think that we want to help provide solutions for people who are suffering and in need on all fronts, health and also in this economic situation. So Carolyn?
I'm so impressed by all of these products. I am always so grateful that it was the cleaning products that actually introduced me to the whole life and career of Shaklee. And I'm so impressed by hearing all the stories, which of course is the only thing that I use anyway. I really think that right now what people are most looking for is something and someone they can trust. We have so much confusing information out there, and I think it is such a gift for us to be able to say that the reason that people are continuing to use and come back to Shaklee is because they know that they can trust the business. They know they can trust the products. And what we have that is available to us is not just these wonderful products, but also the opportunity to actually make a mission out of this and to allow other people to not only use the wonderful products, but also to be able to create an additional income. So if we switch the slide to the next one, Joanne, this is an average annual income statement that is from the company. It is the actual numbers of the actual amounts of money that are earned by Shaklee people at different levels. And what you can see is there's an opportunity for people to come in and simply casually use the products, enjoy them, take advantage of them, perhaps earn some slightly additional income. But if you take a look at the average income, just the middle column of someone who creates their own independent business, that can be anywhere from $10,000 a year up to well over $500,000 a year. And all of this happens by being able to just take the same stories that we have told today and really make them available to other people. So I like to say, what if in the next 6 months with coached and mentored focus that someone was interested in developing a team of people that love these products, can share the message, and have the option of actually having an additional $20,000 of extra income made available, set themselves up for a career earnings opportunity that does allow us to stay home, support our families, and do the things that we really believe in. So thanks for just a terrific program and for being part of it.
And if you look to the right too, it can be done on a part-time so that, you share with a few people, you can earn a little bit of extra income, or you can coach other people to help them. So how would you see yourself fitting in? You may be here because you realize that you need to make sure that you're not poisoning your home with the toxic chemicals, or you believe in nature. You want to use products that are going to improve the quality of your life, and that may be why you're here today. It may be that you're looking, or you may know someone who is looking to financially improve where they are right now. And we basically are educators versus salespeople. It's funny because I was so bad at the closing of the sale, which I never understood. But it's a matter of sharing and introducing and educating people on the choices that they're making and how we have some choices that could really help improve their whole family's life and themselves. That's why we started with the team of women that I'm working with, a Lunch and Learn Wellness series, We reach out to everyone, and we want to help people make sense of the changes and choices that they are faced with today. So every Wednesday at the same Zoom location, this is really for you to invite people. It is our organization of people. Because of the Zoom room limitation, I can have you invite anyone that you want to bring in, and I encourage you to spread the word, share the word, because we give such a great service to other people. And I really appreciate all of you for joining us today. I'm going to stop sharing now, and we can kind of, for those who want to stay on, we do some chatting afterwards. If those of you are new who have some questions, we'll be happy to answer them. So Scott, we're going to just stop the share and just open up the call for anybody who has a question. Although I think Bonnie, I'm glad Bonnie's on. Good.
All lines are open.
Colleen, wonderful. We had some other guests arrive a little bit later. Okay.
I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Sylvia Hopkins, who's on the line 1226 here.
Okay, thank you. And where does Sylvia live?
Hello? This is Sylvia. Am I muted?
You're on now.
We can hear you.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Little technical problems here, plus 3 hours difference. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in the East Bay of San Francisco in Richmond. And I'm thrilled. I only got about the last 14 or 15 minutes of the program, but I have to tell you that my mother used some Shaklee things in the 1950s. Now I understand. I didn't know it was Shaklee then. But the company must have been very, very new. But I started using the products in the 70s, and I have kind of come full circle. I did get to watch Roger Barnett on the weekend, on the 4th, and I'm just thrilled with the direction that the company is able to go in right now, and everybody needs this so much. So I just have to tell you that it remains to be seen how successful I would be personally, but I think the company is poised to give a lot to a lot of people in the future.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have some great statistics for that. And again, today is our product event, Wednesday lunch, or primarily us being able to help people explore our great product. You know, years ago, I've been involved with Shaklee for a number of years, and we used to do what's called in-homes. So we would get people into our home and we would do demonstrations and we would give information, because we feel our products do need to be explained. People, you can't, 1 quart of Basic H makes 64 gallons of cleaner or more now, you know, with H2. So we really, you know, how do you articulate that if it's just standing alongside something else that is only a few dollars versus what we pay for our cleaners? We have to really educate people on their use. And that's why Dr. Shaklee, who started the company in 1956, created it as a kind of direct selling network marketing company so that it could be explained by other people. And that's what we get paid for, is to educate and help people about the value of our products. So thank you, and I'm sure you'll do great. Just share from your heart. That's all that's important.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really exciting to be here with all of you.
Good.
Joanne,
Yeah.
thank you and the Gen team for allowing our group. There's just 2 of us on now, but the other one that you have at the 780 number is Shelley Saya, and she is a new business builder with us.
Great. Welcome, Shelley. Okay. Anyone else want to have a guest that didn't introduce themselves? Or? Well, thank you all for supporting these Wednesday luncheon. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. I want to thank Pam Budner, Maria Cloutier, Susie Sunkel, and Carolyn Whiteman. They gather with me to help me put the format together and the information so that we can provide it for each of you. And so the good news is all you guys need to do is go share the story and see the guests and have them come here. Instead of having to produce it yourself, you can help people hear the information so that they can get the education necessary in order to create a healthier home for themselves. So thanks very much for joining us. And I know we have a couple of West Coast people on, which is great to see you with us. Although Mary Kay, you're scheduled to move. What is it? What's the date? I don't know. She might have just left.
She's moving the 1st of May.
All right. Well, God bless her for that.
Yes. Joanne, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you have a topic lineup for the next Lunch and Learns?
Actually, a good question. It'll probably be something on Earth Day. I'm not sure exactly. What I think I need to do is meet with the ladies to kind of get a schedule of the upcoming so we can pre-announce it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet because it's been so busy, honestly, with so much information. Shackley Corporation itself grew in March by 40%. And the statistical numbers are quite incredible of what's been happening. So myself, I've been, Pam was saying about her daughter being on the phone from like 9 to 12 or whatever the hours were. I'm kind of putting in the same hours right now with all that's been going on in order to facilitate the information that we're all getting. So I hope to work with getting a pre-calendar, but Earth Day is very big. If you have suggestions, Julie, why don't we put this out there for everybody? That's good. If you have some suggestions of what you would like to see us do on a Lunch and Learn, just email us and we'll talk about it together and put it together, because we do want to serve others. We want to serve the needs of the people that you have and what's important to you. So please
Thank you.
forward it.
Joanne, I'd like to just add that one of the nice things about this is, although we are socially distanced, we actually are representing all around the country, and we wanted to simulate being around the dining room table. And that's why we invite people to introduce themselves, so that it would be like someone walks into the room and, tell us who you are and where you came from and how you, where you parked and so on. So this is our effort to just try to connect with people, even though, as you can see, they represent all across the country.
Exactly. And you can even bring your lunch. I mean, we didn't do the smoothie of the week today, but the smoothie of the week and what you might have for lunch. I know I like to make my protein pudding usually for what I have for lunch and throw some pumpkin seeds in it. And also I need the energy chews. With the amount of hours I've been putting in, I like those energy chews. And I don't know about any of you, but if you haven't used the energy chews and want clarity of thinking, a couple of those really do help you with that. Even though I didn't realize I had my speaker down, it still does help.
Joanne, I had one quick comment on the presentation today, actually. Back on the hand wash. If you remember back in the old days when we were telling people about basic H and that kind of thing, and we used to use pH test strips to show people the acid mantle of our skin.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that we're being told now to wash our hands repeatedly, constantly, obsessively throughout the day, and most people are using very alkaline soaps. So from my point of view, what that's doing is once they've done that and they've washed away that acid mantle that takes the body about 5 hours to rebuild, and they're not waiting 5 hours between washings, that they're actually leaving themselves wide open to all kinds of bacterial and viral invasions. Just a thought.
I have a few health professionals out there nodding their heads. So that's an excellent point, David, that I appreciate you sharing with the team, the group here.
That's a really good point, David. We forget that the skin is the body's first line of defense against any kind of infection, right?
Exactly.
It's our first.
But the thing is, it's very porous at the same time, hence pores all over the place. And if we then get rid of the thing that really is the protective layer, there's no protection. Skin doesn't do it.
Excellent point. Thank you. A lot of knowledge in this room here. Donna, were you going to add something?
Oh, I was just had some funny. I don't know how many people are old timers, but you all know what this is, right? It's a stopper. But what I do with the Nature Bright is I fill my shower stall up with hot water and put Nature Bright in it and put the stopper on it so it sits in there. And the next morning the shower just like brand new. So, around that kind of a where
Don't get any mold or mildew or buildup. You know, that's really great.
but all the
I don't know
things
what that is.
okay.
No, thankfully.
That's
Well,
fine.
that's where
Great thing.
our personal care products are so important too, because they're cleansers and not soaps. When you use things like the shower gels or Metal Blend and things like that, you're not going to get all that soap scum stuff because it's not made with lye and it, you know, or highly alkaline things. You just don't build it up. It's wonderful. The hardest thing with people to use our Metal Blend, for instance, is just not to overuse it. You know.
Well, that's a
No,
challenge.
you got enough.
That's the challenge when because I've had so many people buy our basic G that I've really had to just say, you know, you have got to follow the instructions.
Right.
It's funny, I have a funny story about Terry. He was a customer of mine, he literally went to the grocery store with a clipboard. Oh, you know what slide I forgot to show was the slide on, besides the fact that they're so concentrated and you can replace 10 products with 3 of our cleaners, the landfills. We don't go through all that those plastic bottles that so many people go through. So we're really saving the environment by the amount of plastic that goes into the landfill. So that's another big point. And they are very economical. They're a lost leader, we say in Shackley, because they last so long. You know, there's not a big turnover rate, which is we're saving people a lot of money. So that's really good. Okay, well, I think we're going to close the call today. Thank you all for being at our Lunch and Learn today, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Sure to invite
Thank you.
guests.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
More the merrier. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.